Hi, Cancer. All right, welcome to this space. Welcome back if you're returning. If you're new here, my name is Raji, and this place is called Opal Oracle. For some reason, I want to explain like what we do here. Well, what do we? Well, let's go over that. Maybe this is a question you need to ask yourself. Like for instance, I was about to explain. I'm talking to somebody. I'm about to present something to somebody, and then I explain to them what I do, right? We read tarot here, we do astrology, I use tropical and sidereal, we use art, therapy. Oh, okay. So let's start from the beginning. This reading is your 2025 to 2027, like wider discussion, I guess. We're going to be focusing mostly and was inspired by Saturn. This is your opposing ruler, right? Capricorn, and your inconjunct, which is your biggest blind spot, Aquarius. Saturn astronomically is going to be moving into Pisces, along with Neptune, Venus, Mercury, Sun, Moon, and the North Node. Then Saturn walks in on the eclipse on March 29th. This is, to me, a really big deal. I mean, that's an enormous amount of energy, and for you, we'll be looking at the rising sign. You can view this from your moon. It'll probably just be more of direct information or possibly literal, even though we're mostly metaphorical here, but it could be a little bit more literally directive if you're looking from your ascendant. If you don't know your ascendant or you don't know when you're born, you can guess the time. It'll still teach you something that you need to know now. But I just wanted to mention that also. So if you are aware of your rising sign and this is not that, I would highly suggest it, okay? So for you, Cancer, let me back up. We'll be discussing Saturn, a little bit of Uranus changes signs this year. Jupiter changes signs every year and will this year. The nodes also change. So that's a lot of shifting. Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter, to me, we're getting on the edges of kind of bigger things. For all of us, it could be things that are outside of us, perhaps, or just, I guess it depends what we are connected to, right? What's within our reach and maybe what we're reaching for. Now, again, for you, Cancer, this is going to be really focused on your 9th house, okay? What is the 9th house? They say traditionally it's ruled by Sag, so this is the house of religion, the house of the father, house of broadening horizons. It could be, in a sense, this is the house of higher education, right? It's a variance of things. Our teachers can live there, our spiritual teachers, our gurus. To me, this is also a parental house. It also has to do with morals and ethics because it also connects to law, not only like, say, human legal law in this world, but also, to me, natural law, spiritual law. Right, this philosophies in these higher, again, educational places. It also has a lot to do with history. And it's interesting because Saturn being there for you for the next 2 years, so from May and March keeps blending together, and there's a lot happening between then those two time frames. But this happened in your other reading. We started getting started like a little bit nervous talking. But I think it's more excited for the new thing, for the change, than it is, or that's being suggested, is to look at the changes again, like what are we reaching for? Maybe that changes. There could be some things also, as Saturn needs a lot of space. He can block you from a person from certain things. And Pisces needs a lot of space. It's the ocean, right? We all are, I guess, in some way taking space and making space from things. Sometimes that's our choice. Sometimes God makes that choice in relation to you and something you're connected to. It's also trusting that. So could be becoming more serious about learning. This could also be the mother or father of your children could decide to go back to school. You could decide to go back to school. But refine something that you're not. It could be just a brush up course if you're already in a more advanced stage with something. You have one of the most interesting combinations that I've seen thus far too, because again, the ninth house is the house of religion, right? It's Sag. It's very, I read this book and this is what I follow, right? It's directive. But of course you're allowed to read many books. But Pisces is the house of just spirituality. Not just to diminish it, but meaning it's different. These two houses are different things, religion and spirituality. So Pisces is spirituality. Again, Sag, or your ninth house, is religion. But you have Pisces, the house of spirituality, in your house of religion. To me, that's very interesting because you're picking up on, of course you are, on this bigger collective lesson of, to me, of Saturn and Pisces is learning to meld these two things, right? Say a person believed in spirit, would consider themselves spiritual, like in a casual way. They may really start taking that more seriously. They may start studying very ancient text, spiritual text, different occult, meaning not everyone has this book on their bookshelf kind of thing. It could also be if a person was, for instance, very rigid in their religion, or maybe they grew up like that or what have you. Perhaps they could be more open. They don't have to, it's not about changing necessarily. Well, we're supposed to look at what we believe. And is that suiting to us? Is this in line with, I see the word morals, your morals, right? How we're showing up in life. But I love this combination because, again, say it was even structured, although it would be, okay, you may define yourself as, I guess you could find more of a definition to in a certain way. Because this is also who you are to the world. I mean, you don't have to say what you are, but to yourself, it's this definition. Because Saturn wants you to come out of your shell, and I know it's been hard with that Mars going through your sign especially the last 6 months, right? 6 to 9 months. It's been pretty strong since basically your birthday, right? Last year. And in August, Mars will finally move out of your sign, which it is debilitated there. It's in its fall. And I sense by then this molting process will feel a lot better. To me, this has also been very generational healing. Especially, you could look back again over the last 9 months, especially. Let's go over a few things. I have my map here. Sorry, I'm a visual learner, thinker. So as the focus and inspiration, again, as he is one of our biggest life lessons, and he's in your house of the PhD, like life learning, go Saturn. He also rules over 2 houses in all of our maps, right? He's the king of Capricorn and the king of Aquarius. So this is your 7th and your 8th house. For you specifically, Cancer, but very much Cancer rising. You would have felt this the most. For me, the rising sign, side note, is the collective energy of it. You know, the ones that hold that are really taking the brunt of it. If you have a personal planet in a different sign, it's not the first house. It's not that it can't still affect you intensely, but it's just different. And so for you, Saturn has been kicking your butt, well, probably your whole life, right? Because this opposes you. You know, Libra is naturally square to you, which means relationships in some way or another always felt like a challenge. They could have felt like a battle, or it was hard to feel safe with them, or it was hard to connect emotionally. Whether that was due to yourself or in relation to who you were deciding to be around, you know. So there's been so much growth, and wherever anyone has Cancer placements that are significant in planets, to me, it really is a beautiful healing energy. You must have asked to come into this life and want to feel so deeply. Do you know what I mean? And even having those feelings again be complicated to yourself. It's like you asked for a very complex puzzle. Say as a soul. To me, that's it's interesting. So you could also look back the last 2 to 4 years, because Saturn again, it affects Cancer rising, your 7th, 8th, and 9th house. You can also just look to Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, because that's basically 1/4 of the map. 1/4 of you, of all of you, is being held down by Saturn right now. Now, sometimes that's protective because he doesn't want us to hurt ourselves, especially emotionally, right? Come at something out of fear unnecessarily and burn bridges, because Cancer to me is moody, right? And sometimes that creates an illogicalness, mostly when a person doesn't feel loved or grounded. You know what I mean? Now, luckily for you, as with Scorpio 2, all the water, this is creating a trine aspect, right? Not all the signs get that. Cancer to Pisces, not all the signs are able to receive this kind of connection. And so you want to be grateful for that, because this will bring benefit and favorable circumstances to you. And I don't feel like endurance is a problem for you. You know, it isn't a problem for somebody to endure. But I heard it's almost like, because what did we say? Let me try to stick to the point. There's a lot of information coming in. Saturn also wants you to organize information. Slow down your mind. Don't, you know when your brain's going so fast and you want to write something down, but it's like your hand can't write as fast as your brain? It's almost as if Saturn is also asking or teaching, right? He's one of the greatest teachers, to teach you, to teach a person to slow down in certain ways, and letting go of the fear of, well, if I slow down, letting go of the feeling of, if I slow down, I may lose something. If I slow down, I may forget. If I'm in this very present moment, I will forget, right? Saturn's the past. Some of you have an awesome teacher, like a person that you admire. You've probably been working with them for at least 4 to 6 years, right? Who is it? Maybe you want to just think about that. Your teachers, your gurus, however you want to call it. Again, people that you trust, people that you go to for wisdom, people that make you feel loved. I mean, this person doesn't always tell you what you want to hear, though. But even that isn't without love. So you might want to think about that, because some of you, there could be a strengthening of the connection with that teacher, with that person, these people. If you've been looking for a teacher, you may also find one. Because I would say Saturn in Pisces to me is putting, again, structure around our spirituality. right? I mean, the spirit is within us, right? We have spirit within us. That is our spirit, our soul. And then Saturn is the physical world, so it's also the body. So some of you could be learning about health. Oh yeah, it also, what is this for you? Oh yeah, you could be learning about health right now, or that may be something that's interesting you. I feel like this might have connected to all the water, and that makes sense because our body is 70% water, fluids, just like the earth, right? And okay, something to sit with. Now, some of you, your teacher, your parent, someone that you deem to be an authority on something, again, that you respect, that respects you, it's important to you, they could also be getting older, or it's where someone sort of graduates, right? Saturn in the ninth to me is about learning new things for certain, and it's being serious about them, right? We want to be dedicated and devoted. But it can also be where you sort of, again, also graduate. And then you could move on to this next, step sort of over the threshold. Because 2 years from now in 2027, Saturn's going to be in your 10th house of you and how you connect to the public, your job, which will affect your home. It's going to hit more of an angle. Like the end of this transit for you, Cancer, is going to be on your MC. So this is, again, one of those big, like, I am learning a huge lesson. What? I am completing a great cycle. Right? Repeat daily. How long is that? That's within that 2 to 4 year range. Interesting. Some ancients say it's not a great time for traveling long distance, like especially in Pisces, like over the sea. You could travel on land. And actually, maybe some of you want to look that up. That's an Arabic part or Arabic lot of land journeys. I can't see where that is for all of you. I wouldn't want to. That's too much information. Oh, speaking of that, I know we're jumping around, but it's I know you can follow. So, oh, did I lose it? I feel like I'm talking to my homegirl right now. Oh yeah, homegirl. Oh yeah, some of you could finally get out of. You're gonna get out of your shell. Saturn wants you to get out of your shell. In a certain kind of way, and I see be. I heard so fresh and so clean. Oh, so right. Saturn rules over our. There's a lot with our body, but basics. Our teeth, our bones, our joints, the things that give us form, give things form and function. Saturn. Pisces is also the feet, the lymphatic system. Some people say the endocrine system as well. I thought that was ruled by Libra, but they're connected anyway. So these things would be important to pay attention to. Maybe this, again, is like a collective thing, right? The lymph nodes clear out so much in our body, right? And one of the best ways to clear it out is through our feet, is physically touching our feet. So you'd want to just pay attention to that over the next 2 years. Again, some of you may be studying. Some of you are going to school for, like, it's not nursing. It's like you're finally putting down an anchor. Oh. Hold on. I'm seeing a boat on the earth. And then it was sort of beached, kind of like the water would come around it, but it was stuck. And who was there couldn't do this with the strength that they had, so they sort of just had to wait. And with some things in your life, again, the last 2 to 4 years, there's been something that's like, wait, or it's felt blocked. But it's almost as if Saturn was protecting you. You were being protected in some kind of way, so that, because if you would have used all your might to try or finagle something to try to get that boat out to the ocean, because seemingly that's where you wanted to go, it's like you're ahead of, sometimes you're ahead of astrology. I do that too. The point is that it's like you were being, that halting was stopping a person from, again, going out to sea, because you didn't have an anchor on your boat yet. That's why you were beached in the first place. And if you would have, again, some way finagled this boat to be out in the ocean, it's like it would have been an electric storm. Like I'm seeing this crazy waves from, maybe some of you, this is another life too. You might finally get over that. Oh yeah, good. Okay, that's also Sag, 6th house. But now you have an anchor, so you can explore if you want to. You can stop in between, right? And not be afraid that it's going to just float out. Right? You can slow down and not be afraid that it's going to float away. Right? If it's meant for you, it will come back to you. You know, when you forget that what you were about to say, and then, or that word or whatever, and then you remember. We always remember eventually. Right? So back to this travel. Some say that long distance travel, again, especially in Pisces, over the seas, maybe not really. Because you're probably going to find what's closer to you anyway. And most of it is going to be within you. Right? Saturn, Pisces. But you could. It just may have delays with it. Or it may be specifically, I'm going to go learn about something religiously. I'm going to go to something that has to do with spirituality, learning in some kind of way. But I feel like things are a lot closer around you than you think that you are. And I think that's also what Saturn is, why he's wanting you to kind of, because even though you have this anchor, I don't think you're supposed to push out to sea just yet. You don't have to, as soon as this starts, start rowing. Even though it's just spring, you don't have to, you can take your time. Because he's looking down at your 3rd house, which is your community, meaning like your neighborhood, your smaller circles of things, which I know you love. I mean, you love the big ones too. You want to be a part of something that's important, that's important to you, right? In a worldly sense, you care about the world a lot. I know. Nature, that you rule over the fresh water, which is the only thing that will get us, because in Pisces, it's water everywhere, not a drop to drink, right? The fresh water comes from you. So you have to replenish or water yourself. I feel like Pisces talked about this. You have to water yourself because you're fresh water. That's palpable. That'll keep us alive, right? Before you up the anchor and go a ways. Then you put it back down and you got to water yourself. So you're a succulent too. Some of you like succulents, right? Maybe all the water signs do. It took me a long time to be able to grow them. They used to die on me. I could grow really finicky things, but I couldn't keep succulents alive. Now I can. But you got to be in the right environment too. Maybe Pisces will be also helpful to you, because that's like if you turn the mechanism to places, that'll give you more information. Oh, speaking of that, if any of you happen to have Pisces placements, especially moon, please write Pisces moon below, because it seems to be that there's quite a few folks having this, so I might end up actually doing a fuller video about it, because it's this thing called sadasati, which is sort of trying. And I heard, I don't want you to be sad about anything. Or somebody saying that to you. But with Saturn there, if you have planets there, you especially will feel a little bit of stress as Saturn approaches those planets. After you deal with it, which you will, whatever it is. And I heard, and if you hold good moral ground and patience, I heard, be more in tune with your body, it'll work out just fine. I'm seeing a fox. Because after Saturn leaves, that sign starts to make space from it, then you generally receive a gift, right? There's some kind of comfort that comes after that discomfort, always. The moon will also be in Pisces for 2 days, averagely each month. So collectively, oh, I just saw the collective as different. There were multiple rings. It wasn't just like the collective. It was like collective. Interesting. Don't lose it, Mo. All right, it'll come back. I know it'll come back. Hold on. So for those few days each month, the collective, actually this now it's permeating from like this center point. The collective is going to feel very touchy, sensitive, maybe insecure. Sometimes Saturn in Pisces is depression. It's hard to believe in. And this may be like, do I believe what I know? Do I believe what I've been studying? Do I believe, what do I believe now? And how does what I believe sort of, I'm seeing a person ask themselves, like, how does that define me? This could also be, some of you could also find a teacher, or maybe, again, you've already been working with one, where they are helping you very much fine-tune your psychic or spiritual abilities. They're aiding that. Saturn is helping aid that, or giving you, again, I'm seeing whether this is a mystery school or a university, okay? What else? It makes sense that for you, like, we're basically purely focusing on Saturn. Like a lot of the other signs that like went into Uranus and Jupiter and the South Node, and I have those all written down. They're all on the board here, but this is your, right, Cancer, ruled by the moon. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. That's your line. That's your telephone line. And then Aquarius, you're in conjunct, which again is one of your biggest lessons and blind spots. Of course you would focus on that. And you know what that I heard that makes you wise, right? Because the 7th house has already been there, done that. Already been there, done that. 8th house, been there, done that. And this goes into the bigger life lessons. So again, I see some of you are really reaching a new stage of something. I mean, maybe you just need to believe in yourself in a real simple way. I heard it's okay if you don't fit the mold. Yeah, some of you might have completed some past life karma. Maybe that seems vague, logical to some, but that's what I see. Especially Mars has been going through your 12th house, your 1st and 12th house, like right over and over and over, zigzagging all over this. It's been, that's intense. That'll definitely make you question, like, where am I going? I don't know what I'm doing. Things are changing again, within you and with whatever you're connected to. But I think as the 9th house, again, is larger goings, you know, again, the big picture. Well, are you just supposed to, maybe part of the lesson is to, well, I keep seeing the words like let go of it all, let go of it, let go of it, let go of it all. And this is kind of like an emotional perception. Because feelings drag you down, right? I mean, I guess they can also lift you up, but yeah, something becomes very clear to you. So if you're wanting to make any big life changes, maybe some of you want to move to another country. Maybe you want to sign up for college. Maybe you want to you want to work towards your PhD or your master's. Did we say that? Be definitive about a course. Be definitive in, because Pisces is very creative, right? And Saturn is structure. So again, it's taking these sort of imaginary things and giving them form. And remember, this is the house of God. And to me, Saturn is God. He's almost everything to me in the map because he holds it together. Right? And it's the moon and the cross. It's the moon and the earth. That's the glyph of Saturn. Interesting. Let me see. Somebody that you know that that you've known for a while could also quit drinking, or is trying to quit drinking, trying to sober up. Wants to find sobriety, like clarity, again, on things. I know you've been hiding. Once May comes around, things are gonna, from again, late March till May. When May comes around, things shift. Let's touch on that to close this out. In May, Jupiter moves signs, Uranus moves signs, and the South Node moves signs. They're actually all getting closer together. This will be your 11th house, 12th house, 2nd house. There could be some really awesome things in what you're involved with in a larger way. If you can't seem to find what you're looking for close to you, you also can do it in other, that's also I think what Saturn will be teaching over these next 2 years is like, you can do it in different ways, right? Okay, for those of you who are learning, like the 11th house is, for instance, like kind of this space here, right? Us being, connecting and learning from one another and feeling soulfully connected, even though it's not physical Saturn. Right? Pisces, I'm emotionally connected to you, but physically you're not there. All of us are going to be experiencing a little bit of this kind of distance in certain ways, but it's not didn't we say earlier, it's like it's not that the love isn't there. Because in the physical dimension, we do have to try, our physical space, we're going to have to try a little bit harder to make that happen if it's not there. And again, I heard, what's the alternative? And maybe acknowledging more of these, being creative about what could be sort of, I'm seeing a candle light, you know. And I'm seeing like a captain writing it, a person writing in his captain log. Huh. I guess for you, I mean, I heard do what you want to do, but it's almost as if this reading, again, 2025 to 2027, this 2-year span, the next 2 years, try to look at it a little broader like that. Because I almost feel like this Jupiter energy, even the node, Uranus, they're in spaces where I don't feel like you need to worry about it. I mean, you don't have to worry about Saturn, but if you focus in on what we were talking about in relation, then it's things work out. Ganesha may be important to some of you, or maybe some of you connect to the elephant. I mean, that's a Cancerian animal to me. So maybe part of the new stage for some of you is also like you are becoming the matriarch. You know, this might be for some of you, okay, your children are now grown. Now you actually have time. You couldn't go to college before. You couldn't go to school before. Now you can. You know, there are other obligations for some reason or another, time, different things, and had to be handled. But now you can. And I guess the can, what is sort of up to you. Right, Pisces, again, is imagination. So give yourself a little bit of time to think about what you'd want to do. I heard regardless of your family. You're not going to disregard other people, but to really think about like what, right? Because when we allow our decisions to be dictated purely by others, we subconsciously create a place of blame because we don't make a change for ourselves. So we allow others again to make those decisions. It's a vicious cycle, and it messes with a person emotionally, you know. Hi, Crow. Because we should always know we're the only ones in charge of, to an extent, we're the only ones in charge of ourselves, our soul. If you do happen to travel anywhere, I wouldn't drink and drive. If you go anywhere international too, again, I wouldn't like drink there. I don't know. Or take psychedelics. Because this is a place of purity. Right, because sometimes Pisces can be the quick fix of something where it's like, oh, that feels good now, right? I'm a little stressed. Let me have a couple beers and I'll loosen up. It's just like Saturn's like, no, you can find that. You know, let me take ayahuasca and understand the mysteries of the universe. And then when you're sober, like really, a couple days later, week later, 2 weeks later, forget. We can, if we do anything too fast, and again, trying, because that's the whole, you change me. I'm going to let you dictate me. No. I heard I'll get there slow and steady. Huh. I guess in closing, this could also be whatever you have been learning about. I mean, shoot, go back 14 years ago. Whatever you've been learning about. Oh, and actually one thing on top of that. Saturn runs in 30-year cycles, so you could also think back there. It's probably not going to be the same situation. But like, where were you then? Or what was happening? And how, in some way or another, does that relate to right now? I heard you'll find it. You'll find what we're talking about here. Because Saturn's sort of asking a question like, where are you? And a little bit, you want to with Saturn always, you want to reference a little bit of the past, because it teaches you, right? When one can reflect, then you're becoming a more fine-tuned individual, right? You're learning the method of meditate, the stages of meditation. So you want to look at what you have done over these last 2, 4, 6, 14, 30 years ago. What have you done? And Saturn isn't asking this as the teacher in ways of like threatening energy. You know, what have you done? And you say a person goes to a place of all the things they didn't do or they wish they didn't do. Again, that's blame, whether it's the self or someone else. What we want to really look at is like, what have you experienced? What has shifted? I heard what is... I feel like all these spirits are like ancestors or people around me right now, like looking at me. Because once you know what you've been through, then you know... I really feel like you should watch Pisces reading. Then you because you become more of an authority on something. Or someone acknowledges more of something's authority. And that's a really beautiful thing. It's a trusted place. Maybe it's just a place, again, of more faith and ability. Because you don't need to rush over these next 2 years. So I heard, don't run away from the elephant. Okay. I guess that's that. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to share your thoughts. If you have any questions, there's very intelligent people and kind people in this space, and yeah, that's what we're here for, is to help each other answer questions or learn and grow or be inspired, and I hope this was that for you in some way. All right, I'll talk to you next time. Peace.